Letter 12 by Charles Lamb. Charles Lamb to St. Coleridge Oct. 28th, 1796. My dear friend, I am not ignorant that to be a partaker of the divine nature is a phrase to be met with in Scripture. I am only apprehensive, lest we in these latter days, tinctured, some of us perhaps pretty deeply, with mystical notions and the pride of metaphysics, might be apt to affix to such phrases a meaning, which the primitive users of them, the simple fishermen of Galilee for instance, never intended to convey. With that other part of your apology, I am not quite so well satisfied. You seem to me to have been straining your comparing faculties to bring together things infinitely distant and unlike. The feeble narrow-sphered operations of the human intellect and the everywhere diffused mind of deity, the peerless wisdom of Jehovah. Even the expression appears to me inaccurate, portion of omnipresence. Omnipresence is an attribute whose very essence is unlimitedness. How can omnipresence be affirmed of anything in part? But enough of this spirit of disputatiousness. Let us attend to the proper business of human life and talk a little together respecting our domestic concerns. Do you continue to make me acquainted with what you are doing, and how soon you are likely to be settled once for all? I have satisfaction in being able to bid you rejoice with me in my sister's continued reason and composedness of mind. Let us both be thankful for it. I continue to visit her very frequently, and the people of the house are vastly indulgent to her. She is likely to be as comfortably situated in all respects as those who pay twice or thrice the sum. They love her, and she loves them, and makes herself very useful to them. Benevolence sets out on her journey with a good heart, and puts a good face on it, but is apt to limp and grow feeble, unless she calls in the aid of self-interest by way of crutch. In Mary's case, as far as respects those she is with, 'tis well that these principles are so likely to co-operate. I am rather at a loss sometimes for books for her. Our reading is somewhat confined, and we have nearly exhausted our London library. She has her hands too full of work to read much, but a little she must read, for reading was her daily bread. Have you seen Bowles's new poem on Hope? What character does it bear? Has he exhausted his stores of tender plaintiveness? Or is he the same in this last as in all his former pieces? The duties of the day call me off from this pleasant intercourse with my friend, so for the present adieu. Now for the truant borrowing of a few minutes from business. Have you met with a new poem called The Pursuits of Literature? From the extracts in the British Review, I judge it to be a very humorous thing. In particular, I remember what I thought a very happy character of Dr. Darwin's poetry. Among all your quaint readings, did you ever light upon Walton's Complete Angler? I asked you the question once before. It breathes the very spirit of innocence, purity, and simplicity of heart. There are many choice old verses interspersed in it. It would sweeten a man's temper at any time to read it. It would Christianize every discordant angry passion. Pray make yourself acquainted with it. Have you made it up with Southey yet? Surely one of you two must have been a very silly fellow, and the other not much better, to fall out like boarding school misses, kiss, shake hands, and make it up. When will he be delivered of his new epic? Madoc, I think, is to be the name of it, though that is a name not familiar to my ears. What progress do you make in your hymns? What review are you connected with? If with any, why do you delay to notice White's book? You are justly offended at its profaneness, but surely you have undervalued its wit, or you would have been more loud in its praises. Do not you think that in Slender's death and madness there is most exquisite humor, mingled with tenderness, that is irresistible, truly Shakespearean? Be more full in your mention of it. Poor fellow, he has, very undeservedly, lost by it. Nor do I see that it is likely ever to reimburse him the charge of printing, etc. Give it a lift if you can. I suppose you know that Alan's wife is dead, and he, just situated as he was, never the better, as the worldly people say, for her death, her money with her children being taken off his hands. I am just now wondering whether you will ever come to town again, Coleridge. Tea's among the things I dare not hope, but can't help wishing. For myself, I can live in the midst of town luxury and superfluity, and not long for them, and I can't see why your children might not hereafter do the same. Remember, you are not in Arcadia when you are in the west of England, and they may catch infection from the world without visiting the metropolis. But you seem to have set your heart upon this same cottage plan, and God prosper you in the experiment. I am at a loss for more to write about, so tease as well that I am arrived at the bottom of my paper. God love you, Coleridge. Our best loves and tenderest wishes await on you, your Sarah, and your little one. Bowles's poem was Hope, an allegorical sketch on slowly recovering from sickness. See note on pages 78 and 79. The Pursuits of Literature was a literary satire in the form of dialogues in verse, garnished with very outspoken notes, by Thomas James Mathias, 1754. minus 1835, which appeared between 1794 and 1797. Southey had returned from Portugal in the summer, when the quarrel between Coleridge and himself revived. But about the time of Hartley's birth, some kind of a reconciliation was patched up. Madoc, as it happened, was not published until 1805, although in its first form it was completed in 1797. Writing to Charles Lloyd, Sen, in December 1796, Coleridge says that he gives his evenings to his engagements with the Critical Review and New Monthly Magazine. This is the passage in Falstaff's letters describing Blender's death. Master Abraham is dead, gone, your worship, dead, Master Abraham? Oh, good your worship, A's gone. A never throve since a came from Windsor, 'twas his death. I called him a rebel, your worship, but a was all subject. A was subject to any babe as much as a king. A turned, like as it were the latter end of a lover's lute. A was all peace and resignment. A took delight in nothing but his book of songs and sonnets. A would go to the Stroud side under the large beech tree, and sing till 'twas quite pity of our lives to mark him, for his chin grew as long as a muscle. Oh, a sung his soul and body quite away. A was lank as any greyhound, and had such a scent. I hid his love songs among your worship's law books, for I thought if a could not get at them, it might be to his quiet, but a snuffed him out in a moment. Good your worship have the wise woman of Brentford secured, Master Abraham may have been conjured, Peter Simple says, a never looked up after assent to the wise woman, Mary, a was always given to look down afore his elders. A might do it, a was given to it, your worship knows it. But then 'twas peak and pert with him, a was a man again, Mary, in the turn of his heel. A died, your worship, just about one at the crow of the cock. I thought how it was with him, for a talked as quick, I, Mary, as glib as your worship, and a smiled and looked at his own nose, and, sweet Anne Page. I asked him if a would eat, so a bade us commend him to his cousin Robert, a never called your worship so before, and bade us get hot meat, for a would not say nay to Anne again. But a never lived to touch it, a began all in a moment to sing, lovers all, a madrigal. 'Twas the only song Master Abram ever learnt out of book, and clean by heart, your worship. And so a sung and smiled and looked askew at his own nose, and sung on, till his breath waxed shorter and shorter and shorter, and a fell into a struggle and died. I beseech your worship to think he was well tended. I looked to him, your worship, late and soon, and crept at his heel all day long, and it had been any fallow dog. But I thought a could never live, for a did so sing, and then a never drank with it. I knew 'twas a bad sign. Yea, a sung, your worship, Mary, without drinking a drop. Footnote, vd, Merry Wives of Windsor. Latter part of the first scene, first act.